Young Drunk.
Hey, welcome to the Michaud Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble. And as always, I am joined by my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing our look at Summer 2K, all those fine, fun black teen comedies from the years 2000 through 2010. And tonight, following up on last week's often requested Bring It On, we have another film that has not only been often requested, but has often been teased at coming to the mission.
yeah.
But tonight, Vincent finally makes it so and lays at your feet Nick Cannon, Zoe Saldana, Orlando Jones.
Yes.
In director Charles S. Stone III's Drumline from 2002, the film that we will be reviewing tonight on the Michaud Mission as we stream live from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, right here in the heart of Manayunk, PA, streaming to Facebook, streaming to LinkedIn, streaming to X, and streaming, of course, first and always to YouTube, where all of you are out there in the chat watching us as we stream live. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Vincent, how are you doing, my friend?
I am fine. You know, trying to stay cool in this heat wave and yourself.
Oh boy, it is a heat wave. I don't know about where you live, ladies and gentlemen, but here in Philadelphia, I think, did it crack 100 today?
I think it did.
Yeah, it was.
I think it did.
It was insanely hot.
And then when you deal with the heat index, yeah. So
Are you staying hydrated?
staying hydrated. Got to drink your water.
Are you one of the ones that has like that big gallon of water that you walk around
I
with?
do. I'd have a water bottle that I keep filled.
Is it a gallon?
It's not a gallon. I don't know how big it is. It's water bottle.
Okay, no.
It's water bottle size.
No, see, there's water bottle size,
Right,
and
right.
what I've learned in 2024,
Right.
There's gallon size,
Right, right.
Most of my friends now, they literally one hand's got the phone,
Right.
and one hand's
Just
got
the
big
Right.
thing of water.
It's not a gallon.
It looks like it's
Okay. Right.
It's damn near a shower worth of water,
Right,
that
right,
they are
right.
walking around.
Well, we got to stay hydrated.
We do.
Got to stay hydrated.
I've been trying to stay hydrated, drinking copious amounts of water today. However, I have had a Jones recently.
Okay, a Jones for
Root beer.
you jonesing for root beer.
Jonesing for root beer. When I have a Jones for root beer, that means that I have to make myself a burger.
Okay,
So yesterday, I grilled myself a burger
okay,
with a little bit of barbecue sauce, some onion powder, some nice provolone cheese,
okay, very nice.
some brioche bread
Ooh, fancy.
that I toasted in the pan,
La did da.
and hold the dough, and got myself not a gallon, but a huge mug
Mug of root beer.
of A&W root beer.
Did you chill the mug?
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
did.
Yeah, root beer is good. Root beer is good. And sometimes, as you said, you have a taste for it. Like it is something that actually has a taste.
Yes.
How do you feel about Dr. Pepper?
I'm not a Dr. Pepper guy.
Interesting, because it seems like you would be a Dr. Pepper guy.
would it-
Because Dr. Pepper is for mad people in serial killers and things. My mother used to like Dr. Pepper. I know it's a weird segue, but I used to say
I don't remember seeing your mother on the most wanted
right.
list,
But
go
I
ahead.
used to say to my mom, like, what is this? Like, how do you pick this? But she said, nothing. It tastes like Dr. Pepper.
How did she? How'd she land on Dr.
I
Pepper?
have no idea.
Is that a Baltimore thing?
It's not a Baltimore thing.
Really?
It's not a Baltimore thing, but much like root beer, it is a very specific taste. So
Yeah, it's a taste I never acquired. No.
But well, good for you. Let's hear it for a burger and
A&W root beer.
hey, watch all that free advertising.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. And I don't see them knocking on our door anytime.
Right.
Coca-Cola, but I think that's Coca-Cola.
Come and knock on my door, part of the theme song to Three's Company.
Yes.
Which then makes me think of 70s and 80s sitcoms.
Okay.
Which is a perfect segue.
Okay.
I have a Jimmy Walker addendum.
A Jimmy Walker addendum.
A Jimmy Walker addendum.
Okay.
To our conversation last week when I mentioned going down a rabbit hole and we talked about how Jimmy Walker, after Good Times, had all of these different
failed
pilots and sitcom, that he tried to star in.
Yes.
It made me think, I don't know why, I don't know if this is what led me to the rabbit hole, like just the algorithm knew that I like Jimmy Walker stuff.
It doesn't take much for the algorithm.
But Jimmy Walker, like a lot of these working actors, after their height, was on a couple of episodes of The Love Boat.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And there was one particular, we should probably explain The Love Boat. I realized like everybody, like The Love Boat.
Not everybody knows.
Love Boat was basically an anthology series in the late 70s.
It's loose, but okay.
I mean, it was. It was an anthology. It was a Pacific Princess, and they would have 3 stories.
It was a cruise ship.
It was a cruise ship.
Right.
And you would have 3 stories that revolved around love stories.
Yes, love stories that took place on this same cruise ship. It had the same crew, but the guests on the cruise would always be like, retired stars and stuff like that.
Exactly. So one of the episodes that Jimmy Walker was on, the story was a widow played by Vernie Watson.
Okay.
Who is an actress that I have liked for a very long time.
Yeah, she
kind of showed up all through the 70s. It always seemed like she was right there. And then, she never really got an ongoing series. I was so happy for her when she got the recurring role as Will's mother on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She plays a widow who hasn't gotten over her husband's death.
Okay.
She goes on a cruise.
Oh, go ahead.
And starts to have a love affair with a passenger played by Greg Morse.
Right.
Jimmy Walker
is the ghost of her husband.
Plays the ghost of her husband. I
remember this episode.
You know why you remember this episode? Because as someone who watched The Love Boat a lot, surprising no one, 90% of The Love Boat was really just barely a sketched out story. You know, Anson Williams runs into his high school sweetheart.
Yes.
Will they make up for lost time?
Yes. On the promenade deck.
But every now and then you would get a story that was a little bit more developed. And it felt like a backdoor pilot.
Yep.
And this felt like a backdoor pilot. And Vernie Watson had this kind of real wonderful late 70s, early 80s black woman sophistication. Like she always reminded me a little bit of, I just forgot the character's name on the Jeffersons, the daughter. Willis's daughter. Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny Willis.
Right. She always reminded me a little bit of Jenny. Like you could tell she wore pantsuits.
Okay.
And like had her hair blown out. So she had like that level of sophistication. And Jimmy Walker is doing his best Don Knotts impersonation. Because he's a ghost.
Right.
And no one can see him but her.
Right.
And much like you remember that episode, I've always remembered that episode. And then during the pandemic, I was watching the marathon of The Love Boat. Again, surprising no one. And I caught that episode and I said, you know what? There is a universe in the multiverse where this worked. Like this was on for like 3 years.
That like they pulled that series out of
They pulled
Love,
that. Like Greg Morse is sort of professionally handsome. So you can get rid of him pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then the show revolves around the two of them. And I really like that. And it's just a weird little quirky thing. Like, I love the fact that you said you remember that episode.
I do.
Because it stuck out.
Well, yeah.
It stuck out enough that you remembered it.
Okay.
So,
I mean, if I remember, didn't Jimmy have a perm in that?
I mean, I think he did. He was a little.
Yeah,
he was a little,
yeah.
and
That might be the reason
Had
why I
on like a
forgot.
suit in the shirt,
Big collar,
with the
right?
big collar.
Yeah,
because he was a ghost.
There might be other reasons why this stuck
He was a
out.
ghost. Anyway, this is the type of thing that I was thinking about that I wanted to share with you. Figured I'd do it on the air.
Thank you.
You would. You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Hey, man, I'm here for you.
We're here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's turn to your thoughts, which means your emails, or as we like to call them,
Missives from the missionaries.
What's going on, Len? We have emails.
Lord.
Vincent. Ooh, missives from the missionaries. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, missives from the missionaries.
Mrs. from the Missionaries, ladies and gentlemen. We're going through your emails, and we're going to start with one from Miss Monica Brooks.
Hey, Monica.
Greetings. I hope this note finds you well and having the dopest of days.
All right.
I've been listening for quite a while. As someone that loves how black folks express ourselves in the arts, I make it a point to catch your great take on movies. I didn't have a reason to write until Esther Roll got pushed in front of the Good Times bus.
Boy, I knew we were going to get some blowback from that.
In watching the entire run of Maude, the show Good Times came from,
Yeah.
Florida left because James got a promotion in the NYFD, giving her the opportunity to finally be a stay-at-home mother. Flash forward to Good Times, and the Evans family is in the Chicago projects. Mm-hmm. This makes Norman Lear the true villain of Good Times.
Okay.
I hear folks providing movie suggestions, so mine are my father's favorite sports movie for no real reason, 1979's Fast Break with Gabe Kaplan and Michael Warren.
That's good. Could Fast Break be considered a black movie?
I don't know. Michael Warren's in it, and there may be 2 or 3 other people, but
I mean, I'm pretty sure the whole team is black.
Yeah, but it's a Gabe Kaplan
movie.
vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see.
Is that what led to Welcome Back, Carter? Or was Welcome Back, Carter first?
Welcome Back, Carter, I think, was from his comedy act. A little bit from his comedy act.
All right. That's a good, I don't know if it's a good movie, but that's a good pull.
Good pull.
Yeah, I enjoyed Fast Break.
Monica's other suggestion, or excuse me, Miss Monica's other suggestion is 1973's The Spook That Sat by the Door, which was a BSU staple when I was in college in the 90s. That's a movie that has been teased.
We're overdue.
Yeah.
We're really overdue for that.
Yeah, and people are going to hate me when we review that. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you have the dopest of summers. Have a great event in August. Prayerfully, Len will finally understand why The Last Dragon is show enough a must-see in black cinema.
Nice.
Monica Brooks from Oakland, California.
Very nice. Love Oakland. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Monica. And yes, hopefully you, if you're in or near the Philadelphia area, will be able to join us on August 1st, ladies and gentlemen. That is a Thursday at 7 p.m. at Bryn Mawr Film Institute, as Vincent and I and our good friend Stephanie Watts of the Be Real Black Cinema Club will be sitting down to watch on the big screen and do a podcast afterwards about The Last Dragon.
Mm-hmm. You possess the power of the glow.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I've known that for quite some time, but it's nice to see it finally acknowledged in real time. All right, but let's continue on with our emails. We have another email, Vincent. This one is from Nicole Sherman.
Hey, Nicole.
And the subject line is thoughts on young listeners under the age of 40 listening to the Me Show Mission podcast.
Okay. All right.
Hello, Len and Vincent and missionaries. At the time of this writing, I am currently listening to Minnie Riperton's Come Into My Garden album on vinyl.
Nice. Look at you. Very nice.
I know for Vincent, I could stop the email right there.
Oh.
But
Charles Stepney? Oh, what are you? Oh, my goodness.
I will continue. This may sound like a silly question, But how do you guys feel about younger listeners listening to the Michelle Mission as in people under the age of 40? I know the missionaries vary from age to age, but I always feel the main demographic for this show is people over the age of 45. Maybe I am wrong, but I am someone who you both would call youthful.
Okay.
I consider myself an old school, listening to older music, especially R&B music from the 60s and early aughts, and old school hip-hop rap like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Queen Latifah, etc. But all in all, as a young black woman, I am a huge fan of black cinema. I'm what you guys call an archivist, collecting things from vinyls to ebony magazines.
All right.
I'm a huge fan of this show, so sorry for the tangent. Side note, I decided to dedicate August of watching the Mother May I month of movies, starting with either Belly or Baby Boy. I hope the emails find you well. Love always, Corey, a.k.a. Nicole Sherman.
We have a surprising cross-section of listeners last time we checked.
Yeah, last time we checked, we do pretty well. Yeah. We have a nice swath of our demographic that's in there. I would say late 20s, definitely the 30s.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't know if
I think it sounds that way because, well, I just spent 10 minutes talking about an old episode of The Love Boat from the second season.
Yeah, you did kind of go. So. You're not doing good for the algorithm on that one. But I don't.
And Vernie Watson. I name checked Vernie Watson.
With all due respect.
And then Lynn immediately said, "Oh yeah, I like Vernie Watson too."
Yes. But I wouldn't say we skew older. We may be older, but
Vernie Watson, who played one of the high school students on What's Happening.
It's funny. I was just listening to a podcast.
And I said she kind of reminded me of Jenny from the Jeffersons.
Another 70s reference.
And you said, oh, not even just a 70s reference, like a deep 70s
It's a very deep reference.
And you're like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about the special project that we're putting together. It's not going to do much for the algorithms either. But anyway.
Yes.
But I was actually listening to a podcast on my way here. Mm-hmm. And it was a sports podcast, but it was this young guy's cool podcaster. One day, hopefully, we can get him on the show, Van Lathan. He was talking about being at the NBA summer leagues in Vegas, right? And he was on the elevator, and a whole bunch of summer league players got on an elevator with him, and he was saying he's old. He considers himself old now. He's probably just north of 40. Mm-hmm. Right? Maybe not even quite.
Right.
But he considers himself old.
Sure.
And as these guys are getting on the elevator, he's telling himself, like, I'm looking at these guys and they look like 6'7", 6'8" fourth graders.
Sure, absolutely.
In their face.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I want to tell them, yo, check yourselves, be hydrated, do good with your money and everything like that. But I really can't because they don't want to hear from me.
Right.
Because I'm old.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, I feel you like that. Sometimes you feel like that, man. I do feel like that sometimes. Like, I'll get around people and I'll be like, just want to just randomly just like, hey, man, why don't you just slow down a little bit?
Hey, man, I teach for a living, so I do it all that that's just what I do.
Yeah, but that's your job.
I was about to say.
That's part of your job.
I tell them, wash your hands. Stay hydrated. Are you eating enough protein? You look like shit. I do. That is a direct quote. I say it to my students all the time. I say, you look like shit. Are you eating enough protein? When's the last time you had a vegetable?
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Look, man.
Oh, God.
Look, if you are blessed to have been here longer than somebody around you, it is your duty to try and pass on
some knowledge.
So,
very true.
So to the point of the letter, I do think we have a cross section.
Yes.
I think we love it.
We do.
We absolutely love it. And as we've always said, this is a conversation. So we love the recommendations that we get. We love learning about new things.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
So yeah. You do, because they're eating takeout. They don't drink enough water.
Or they're drinking sparkling water.
Right.
Thinking that's water. That was what my mom used to say.
No one is washing their hands nearly as much as they should.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on how deep we are into the term, they're being inappropriately naked with one another.
Yes.
It's a lot of exchanging.
Yes.
So you got to take care of yourself.
And the guys are allergic to combs and picks.
See, too far. I don't mind that.
There's degrees to this.
Hey, look, they make it look.
There's degrees to this.
They make it work. They have it all twisty.
No, if you
they
have
make
twisty,
it work.
twisty, you got to fade.
Look. I'm concerned about their health and their well-being. Wash your hands.
Wash your hair.
Try and get 6 hours of sleep.
6
hours.
Do you get 6 hours now?
I don't, but okay. Now you're gonna get me in trouble. These kids ain't built like us. Like when I was 20, I could have got 2 hours of sleep.
There's that real talk.
Got up and eaten some bacon and washed it down with vodka, and then showed up in class and been on point.
Wasn't that last week?
Oh no, that wasn't last week at all.
I'm going to continue with the email.
Continue with the emails. Thank you, Nicole.
Yes.
Thank you, Nicole.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nicole.
All right. More help with the algorithms.
And Nicole, I'm sorry. You're listening to the Mini Ripperton Coming to My Garden. Hopefully you know about Rotary Connection. Get into that Rotary Connection. That's what Charles Stepney was doing before Minnie Ripperton's solo album.
Yes.
That was his band.
Yes.
So,
with Minnie Ripperton.
With Minnie Ripperton. She was one of the singers in Rotary Connection. Absolutely.
Right.
All right. Go ahead.
We got an email from Michael Sykes.
What's up, Michael?
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. I applaud you for telling the facts, saying Florida Evans is the villain because she clearly is. There has been many examples where she wanted to stay in the projects, like the episode Getting Up on the Rent, where James had to shoot pool in order to get the rent money, and she didn't want him to. It's like Florida loves misery. And another example was when James had a great job in Alaska, but she begged him to stay, the Real Cool Job episode. It's her fault that James is dead.
See, too far.
If James would have accepted a job in Alaska, he wouldn't be dead. She was a selfish character to hide behind her stupid religious beliefs when God was clearly giving her evil self signs to get out of the ghetto, but now James is dead.
No.
I added that part. Along with Florida...
Oh, we're in the midst of a good times rant.
Oh, no. He's moved on.
Okay.
Along with Florida, Lamont Sanford was selfish too. Like in the Fred the Activist episode, where Fred couldn't get a new stereo due to the store's age discrimination policy.
Right. That's right.
Fred asked Lamont to sign some papers for him in order to get the stereo, but Lamont selfishly said no. Doing his father wrong, there's many times that Lamont has been selfish and never paid for it. I have just one question, Vincent. What do you know about the 1978 Isley Brothers album, Showdown? Love, your fan, Michael Sykes. He's all over the place.
I know. Well, remember, the Isleys are, I'm soft on my Isleys knowledge. I think we talked. I feel like
we mentioned it.
I feel like Michael may have asked me about the Isleys before. Yeah, like I do 3+3 is my big one, but yeah, I don't have a lot of Isley Brothers album to album knowledge.
Yeah,
but 1978 sounds like it was a great year.
I'm sure.
So,
all right, we got an email from Ron Covington.
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Dear Vin and Lentz, after excuse me, dear Vincent Len, after your side conversation on a previous episode about Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, I decided to watch the film. Mm-hmm. I watched the first 3 original ape movies when they came out, but never watched the last 2 in the series. Mm-hmm. I was intrigued by the discussion about whether Conquest could be considered a black film because of its on-the-nose allusion to slavery and rebellion. Mm-hmm. The film looked like a heavy-handed, high-concept ABC movie of the week from the 70s, of which I am a big fan. There goes the algorithms again. The whole film looks like it was shot in the Century City Mall in Los Angeles. That's because it was.
That's because it was.
But I was struck by the performance of Harry Rhodes as MacDonald, an aide to the governor, who was torn between his duty and his moral empathy towards the simians. Mm-hmm. Rhodes tries his best to give his role nuance and thoughtfulness and nearly pulls it off in spite of a script obviously written through a European lens. Finally, I didn't hate the movie, but realized it is very much a product of its time, and I was a little surprised that the governor was not executed on screen at the climax. I love many 70s movies because they weren't afraid to have stark, downbeat, poignant, and ironic endings. Harry Rhodes was a solid working actor on television, and I loved him in Detroit 9000 and Sharky's Machine. I remember Sharky's Machine.
And I remember him from Detroit 9000.
Well, there you go. Final unrelated question.
Okay.
Do you consider 2005's Shadow Boxer with Cuba Gooding Jr., Helen Mirren, Macy Gray, and Monique a black film? In the film, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was a crooked doctor having an affair with a crack-addicted nurse played by Monique. I may have to watch this movie just to see that. I used to joke with a friend of mine saying Monique's character must have just started smoking crack.
Okay, easy.
I'm not even going to continue that. Would you consider 2005 Shadow Boxer a black film, Vincent?
I have not seen it. Is that Lee Daniels?
I believe so.
I feel like somebody interesting directed that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was.
Is that Lee Daniels?
I'm going to look it up, but I think that was. I seem to remember that. Shadow Boxer 2005. That was Lee Daniels. Yep.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it.
Yeah.
I've not seen it. But I would say that it is a black film.
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr. is decidedly the lead in the film.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say
And just to circle, did we talk about this on the episode? In the original script for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, I think the governor does get executed on screen. And then they changed
Yes, and they changed
it. And they changed it. They were like, okay.
Yeah.
This is a little much.
I remember that.
Yeah, so.
All right. Well, that's our emails, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for each and every one of you, even the emails that we weren't able to read.
Yes.
But please, if you want to share your thoughts with us, email us at micheuxmission@gmail.com, MICHEAUX, and please follow the lead of Miss Monica Brooks and tell us exactly where you are writing from, because we like to know where the missionaries are. Okay? All right. It is now time for the top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is.
Top 5, ladies and gentlemen, where I come up with a list. I read the list to you and to Vincent, and he shares with us his scintillating commentary on said list. Tonight, keeping it in theme as we did last week, because we were doing a film from 2000 and we looked at all of the crazy things in black entertainment and just pop culture that happened in the year 2000. Drumline is from the year 2002. So Vincent, let's see what happened in black entertainment and pop culture in 2002.
Okay.
Top 5 things.
Okay.
All right. Number 5.
Number 5.
Say hello to Alicia Keys.
Interesting.
As in 2001, Alicia Keys released Songs in a Minor, highly successful debut album that featured a #1 hit with Fallin' and would go on to sell more than 10 million copies. She won 5 Grammy Awards in 2002, including those for Song of the Year and Best New Artist
Yes.
of the Year, 2002.
Solid album.
Solid. Where are you on Alicia Keys? Are you
I like her.
like her?
I like her.
Wouldn't say like you're a fan.
Solid album.
Okay.
I bought it. I don't remember her second album.
I don't remember the second album. I'm sure I know. I'm sure there's a Alicia Keys song that I know and I like or appreciate.
Right.
That's from that album.
After the first album is the New York song with Jay-Z.
Which was that her album? That was.
I'm saying the next thing I
That's
remember.
the next thing you remember
about. So, solid. Like her.
Yeah. All right. And I think well deserving of 2002 Best New Artist.
Like many people, I'm mystified by the "You Don't Know My Name" video where Mos Def orders a soul food special and then washes it down with hot chocolate. Like many people, that has haunted me.
Number 4. I'm moving on. From 2002.
Then he comes back the next day and orders it again.
That's his thing.
He gets the soul food special, but he wants it with hot chocolate.
That's his thing.
And she makes it with milk because somehow that makes it a better choice.
Whoa.
Like her boss wants her to make it with water, but she makes it with milk because if you're going to have catfish, macaroni and cheese and collard greens and you're going to wash it down with hot chocolate, it should be with real hot chocolate.
Well, first of all, let's see, now you're making jokes, right? But people eat their favorite breakfasts and they wash it down with coffee or tea.
Right.
So if he wants to wash it down with hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate, why not?
What's the problem?
Look, hey, I don't have a problem.
Well, you seem to be alluding that you have a
I'm
problem.
just confused.
Why are you confused?
Because I feel like there should be some follow-up to why he, like when she calls him, like when she pulls the card out of the fish bowl
Yes.
and then calls him,
Yes.
which, you stalk much? I feel like part of the question should have been, why do you do this combination of foods? And then, either he's an alien in disguise, he's a deep cover Russian agent who's been working in America and they trained him in one of them towns where they train the deep cover agents in Russia, or he's a sociopath. Like, I just felt like there should have been more in the song.
It's not like he dipped the catfish in the hot chocolate.
It's just weird. It's just a weird combination.
Okay, but it's his combination.
Obviously,
why can't the man
because
have
he gets it every day.
So why can't he just have it every day? Why's that gotta be weird?
I don't know what. You know what? You're sensitive because you're usually on some weirdo shit. Like, he's a kindred spirit to you.
I'm not on any.
What's the next thing you asked?
Yes, can I continue?
You kept.
You're the one that went on to this,
Go
this
ahead. I'm
tangent
just saying
about hot chocolate and catfish.
I'm just speaking what the people are all thinking.
Nobody is thinking about this but you.
Everyone has thought about
every
this.
one of your cohorts that gets together
go
in
ahead.
the Vincent Conclave.
Go ahead.
Y'all are talking about
Go
it.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm just
Nobody
saying.
else is talking about it.
Yeah, I'll have a special. And can I have it with hot chocolate? Okay. Go ahead.
We're all rolling our eyes
I'm
at you
just
and
saying.
your catfishing.
Go ahead.
Can
Go
I continue?
ahead. Please do.
Number 4.
Number 4.
From 2002. Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson's Flying Blanket. Do you remember this, Vincent?
I do remember
Michael Jackson, he has, of course, demonstrated some very questionable judgment before. Some think he outdid himself in 2002, where he dangled his struggling 9-month-old son over his hotel balcony while staying in Berlin. In response to public outrage over the incident, Michael Jackson issued an apology. In an apparent attempt to connect with his fans gathered below, the singer held the boy using just one arm around the baby's waist over the edge of the metal railing while greeting the crowd gathered 4 stories below. Fans cheered, but some also screamed, concerned that he might drop the baby. The child, who had a towel over his head, was the singer's youngest, Prince Michael II. Jackson was in Berlin to accept an award for his philanthropic work on the behalf of children, a Lifetime Bambi Entertainment Award, in fact, but the incident was roundly condemned for potentially endangering his very own child. He will go on to issue a statement, like I said, via his lawyer, calling the incident a terrible mistake. I offer no excuses for what happened. I got caught up in the excitement of the moment. I would never intentionally endanger the lives of my children. Do you remember that moment?
I very much remember it. That was, he apologized. He got caught up in this, but that was.
Yeah, man.
That was, yeah.
And I think the other thing, to be what is left unsaid is that, yes, he dangled the child over the balcony, 4 stories above all these people. Mm-hmm. But the other thing, this is Michael Jackson, who doesn't give off the image of some very virile, super, even remotely athletic type of person. And while this is just a baby, it was with one arm that he was holding his baby. It really was a scary moment.
It was
very disturbing.
It was
to see.
It was.
All right. Continuing, number 3. 2002, Vincent. I asked you for 2000. Let's see if you can do for 2002.
Okay.
What was the number 1 black film for that year? I'll give you a hint. Sci-fi.
Did the Men in Black come out that year?
You are the man, Vincent. Men in Black 2.
It was only 2?
Men in Black 2.
Interesting.
It was a 2002 science fiction comedy, of course, starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
The film, while receiving only mixed reviews, went on to gross $442 million worldwide in 2002, which is a big number, becoming the 5th highest grossing film of the year. There you go. I know you're a fan of Men in Black.
Diminishing returns, but 2's not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, 2's watchable.
It starts to, it's getting a little shaky though. Yeah, most definitely.
The problem with the high concept is that almost by definition, if you keep going back to the well, it dilutes it, which is what makes Planet of the Apes so special, because they figured out a way to keep recreating, doing something a little new.
You talking about the original?
The original.
Okay.
The original. So go ahead.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think there was some diminishing returns on the first series.
I don't think there were diminishing returns. I think diminishing returns is a little different from. Actually, I don't think it's diminishing returns, because I think the second Planet of the Apes is the weakest one.
The second,
Beneath is not better than Escape or Conquest.
Well, I don't like the third one. The third one is when everybody dies.
Right, but that's better than Beneath.
But
Beneath is the one where
is that the second?
Where Charlton Heston shows up at the very end with the psychics. Yeah, Beneath is and Conquest is better than all of them except for the original. Whereas with Men in Black, each subsequent film is weaker than the one before it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I guess the third one is. You're saying it's better, but it's just so dark. That ending
doesn't mean it's not.
But I know that doesn't mean that it's not better. But I don't know. That ending is just so dark, man. That it's just. I mean, they shoot a baby.
They do shoot a baby. Look, the monkey baby gets shot.
They shoot.
You're gonna have to live with that if you're gonna be in Planet Apes. You like Planet Apes? It's gonna be a dead monkey baby.
A dead monkey is different than they shot the baby.
Not a dead monkey baby.
They shot the baby. And
Right.
Then they shoot the monkey. It's
Right,
dark.
right.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
I got to keep it moving.
I'm sorry.
All right, number two.
Number two.
Number two from 2002 is the Associated Press Athlete of the Year. Now, the reason why I point this out, the Associated Press would elect a athlete of the year, and they would select a male athlete and a woman athlete.
Okay.
In 2002, their male athlete of the year, in the midst of a streak of 5 straight years
Okay.
being voted the male athlete of the year, is Lance Armstrong.
Okay.
In 2002, for the first of only 2 times being elected the female athlete of the year, is Serena Williams.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm pointing this out, I make a mention of this, is because in various other years, while Lance Armstrong is fooling the world and getting all these accolades, they elect Marion Jones as a female athlete of the year, and who also had some disgrace on her name. 3 times they give it to Annika Sorenstam.
Sure.
Like considered one of the greatest female golfers.
Absolutely.
One of the greatest golfers.
Sure.
Of all time.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? But I contend that within this time,
Okay.
you could have, and I would say probably rightfully should have,
Sure.
given that title to Serena Williams
By herself.
by herself.
All right, I'm with you.
And it's like it is almost finding some evidence of trying to find some reason not to give a black woman her justice.
Right. It's like these cases with these high schools where the black kid is a valedictorian and then suddenly they change the rules and they have to share. See, there you go.
Exactly.
All right.
So and especially considering that it's 5 years in a row,
Oh, in a row.
Lance Armstrong,
Absolutely.
because he cheated and won a bike race.
He did.
That was it. Serena Williams is grand slamming like crazy for 319 consecutive weeks.
Yes.
She is the #1 women's player in the world.
Absolutely.
And there is argument that she is the #1 tennis player in the world. There's to this day argument that she may be the greatest tennis player ever. I would say she was.
Sure.
You know? So I mean, like, that really annoyed me.
Okay.
I felt like I wanted to point that out.
Well, look, it is your top 5. That is a top 5 factoid from the year 2002.
All right. However, the #1 factoid
All right.
from 2002.
I thought we were going to still be talking about sports. All right, go ahead.
I know. Thank you for allowing me.
Well, you saw I actually
You just,
I
let it go.
Did you see I brought in something? I said it's like the valedictorian.
Yep.
See, I was paying attention.
You were.
I was.
Very good.
I was engaged.
You were.
You started talking about female golfers though. I was like, oh boy, we deep in the woods right now. We're a long way from home and we don't know where we are.
We're playing to our demographic.
Yes.
The #1 thing from 2002, unfortunately, is a sad one.
Sure. End the segment on a sad note. That's always a great idea.
Because in 2002, 3 is the tragic number.
Okay.
We begin with the rap group Salt and Pepper considered one of the premier rap groups of all time. Certainly one of the preeminent women
definitely most
groups of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Their songs conveyed an independent feminist attitude and were hugely popular throughout the 80s and into the 90s. Salt and Pepper in 2002 officially announced that they were disbanding to go on to separate projects.
Okay. All right.
They would get back together for some celebratory things.
Of course.
But for the most part, that was the end of Salt and Pepper.
Okay. A shame. Who else?
Very much a shame. Also in 2002, on October 30th of 2002, the world of hip hop lost Jason William Mizell, also known as Jam Master Jay.
Yeah.
Of the group Run DMC.
Yeah, that was real tough.
Many consider the greatest rap group of all time.
That was a tough loss.
Very tough loss. He was murdered in Queens, New York, inside his recording studio. A shooting that remained cold as a cold case until 2020.
I was about to say they just solved it,
and actually the perpetrators were actually just found guilty this year, 2024. With the death, unfortunately, of Jam Master Jay, that would bring to an end, for all intents and purposes, the career of Run DMC as a group.
Yeah. Did you ever see them live?
I saw them live once.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever saw them live?
I think so. Maybe Damon. I see my brothers in the chat. Did we see them at Hammerjacks, Damon? I was sitting there. I think maybe I did.
Yeah, they gave a good show.
But it is one of those.
But you recognize that even in 2002, when the group was far beyond from their peak days, and pretty much were just living on their legend.
Sure.
But Jam Master Jay, always from the beginning, was the soul of that group.
Yeah.
Run was kind of like the star, DMC was kind of like the strong man. But Jay was the soul of that group. He was actually probably the guy that gave the group their gravitas in the world of hip hop. Really,
the story that I've always heard from Run DMC and Russell Simmons is that Run DMC look,
the whole veneer,
with the hat and the leather jackets, that was Jay.
Yep.
Run and DMC were college boys. So, when you look at like the early pictures of them, like they had more like blazers and stuff.
Yeah.
And they started dressing like Jam Master Jay.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a real tough moment.
That was a very tough moment. But as tough as that moment was, and it was, this may have been even more tragic. It happened earlier that year in April of 2002 when we lost Lisa Nicole Lopes, better known as Left Eye.
Yeah.
From the R&B girl group TLC. TLC, who and Lopes also, the creative force primarily behind that group. The TLC, an R&B group, Left Eye kind of like the rapper, but she's the one again that gave them their swag, gave them their cool, gave them their vibe. She actually was killed in a car accident in Honduras while volunteering at a children's development center. Unfortunately, she was speeding and lost control of her rental SUV on April 25th of 2002.
Also very sad.
Very, very sad.
Very sad.
Definitely brought the end of TLC. Yeah. They, unlike Run DMC, tried to kind of, over the years, recreate the magic, and it's just not the same.
No,
their hearts weren't in it. It was more of
Sure.
a cash grab, and they
Sure.
freely admitted it. And I think that Left Eye passing felt it really felt like it hit me hard because one she was a great performer, absolute fantastic performer, and she. I mean, if you go back and read the story, she led a little bit of a wild life. Let's put it that way.
She had that outlaw spirit.
She did some things.
She had that outlaw spirit. Yeah.
But you know what? She was infectious, man.
Yeah.
You couldn't not like her.
Look, man. TLC. She was the heart of TLC, and like you said, when she died, TLC. You really just couldn't recover from it. But it was almost like a domino effect because I always felt like TLC at that moment was the heart of black music.
They were kind of like one of the connective tissues.
Right, like when TLC was gone, I felt like things got a little colder.
Because they were fun.
Because they were fun and it's almost like after Biggie and Tupac both died, like the tone just felt a little colder.
Yeah.
And while it certainly wasn't as dramatic as the events leading to Tupac and Biggie's death, it was the same. It just felt colder. Yeah,
you know what? It's interesting you bring that up because I'm thinking about, the lane in which they operated in. They were R&B. Because of T-Boz and Chili. But they definitely could flow in the rap lane because of Left Eye and because of like their whole vibe, and Jermaine Dupri, producing for them and everything like that. But they came off as not full of themselves.
They were fun.
They were fun.
Yeah.
They didn't try to come off as crazy sexy. I remember T-Boz was actually voted like one of the best looking women in the world one year. But you didn't all of a sudden see her on runways or anything like that.
Right,
she was like, thank you and keep it moving. They stayed very grounded with it. Whereas opposed to and I'm thinking of Jodeci or Belle Biv DeVoe, they kind of either lean too hard one way or the other and, were R&B, but wanted to also be like these considered like hard, thuggish type of rappers and stuff, which felt false, And TLC always felt 100% just genuine with them, man.
See, Tanya already tried to trigger me with the Charles Stepney earlier in the show. I am not taking the bait and falling into a 90s R&B conversation and everything because, I have a lot of opinions about this moment.
I know you do.
With exactly what you're talking about.
I know.
And I'll just agree with you and say TLC was not guilty of some of the behavioral aspects that you're talking about.
That's very
so it was very sad. We're going to keep it moving.
We're going to keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Go ahead.
That is the
top five.
The top five, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep it moving, as Vincent said, into the Game of Kings. The reason why you're all here. It is now time for 6 Degrees.
Well, it's not the only reason.
Of D'Urville Martin. Excuse me. Six Degrees of D'Urville Martin. We may need to find another actor. I mean, she brings up a good point. Like
D'Urville Martin is immortal.
6 Degrees of Scatman Crothers. What to you?
Mantan Moreland connects. Well, he's in this with Freddie Washington. Then Freddie Washington is in this with Lena Horne. Go ahead. Then she's in this with the Nicholas brothers. Go ahead.
I think he was in the Bible. 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. Keeping it in theme, Vincent. Oh,
Okay.
Before I get there, I'm sorry. I'll save this for after D'Urville Martin. I'll save
Okay.
this for after D'Urville Martin. 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. Keeping it in theme.
Okay.
We are reviewing Drumline.
We are.
From 2002.
We are.
Okay. These are actors who, on the low,
Okay.
are actually quite proficient at drumming. So much so that
Interesting.
both of these actors have done drumming on a quasi-professional level.
Oh, this is interesting.
Okay.
Okay. Who are we talking about?
Starting with number one.
Number one?
In 6 films or less, connect D'Urville Martin to Jeremy Piven.
Wait, is that the British guy or the little guy?
Well, I don't know what little guy you're talking about. They're all little.
Let me see his picture. Oh, yeah, him. Oh, Len, you disappoint me.
He's a drummer.
I know, but certainly you know that anyone who was in old school.
Oh, yeah.
But for the sake of the game,
I forgot about old school.
how can you forget he plays the dean? Because
That's
Jeremy,
not one of my go-tos. Like,
yeah. All right, so D'Urville Martin is in Dolomite with Rudy Ray Moore. Rudy Ray Moore is in Penitentiary 2 with Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson is in Ghostbusters with Bill Murray. Bill Murray is in arguably Wes Anderson's best film, but not my favorite Wes Anderson film, The World Tannenbaums with Luke Wilson.
right.
And Luke Wilson is in Old School with Jeremy Piven.
Very good. Very good, Vincent.
Doesn't he have a band?
Yes,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought he had a
actually
band.
Played with a band of which he is the drummer.
Yeah, okay.
And also, I believe, like sings some of the lead. And actually has sat in on a time or two on the Jimmy Fallon show.
Oh,
playing
interesting.
drums.
Okay.
So
I like him.
yeah, I do.
I like him.
Jeremy Piven.
I like him.
All right.
All right.
Very good, Vincent.
All right.
All right. I should have known that would have been easy for you.
Yeah. Old School.
This one should be easy for you too, but
Okay.
we shall see.
We shall see.
In 6 films or less,
6 films or less.
connect D'Urville Martin to this
To?
other acting drummer,
Okay.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell is a drummer?
Rosie O'Donnell not only plays the drum, but she has actually sat in several times with Cyndi Lauper.
Huh. Do you follow Halle Berry?
Do I follow who?
Halle Berry on social media?
No. I'm not really on social media. You know that.
She's actually quite entertaining
On social media?
on social media. Like she actually has a pretty hilarious presence.
What brought that up in connection to Rosie O'Donnell?
It brought that up because Rosie O'Donnell is in the Flintstones movie
Yes.
with Halle Berry, and apparently it was just an anniversary or something. So people were talking. Halle Berry was talking about because I don't know. Did you ever see the Flintstones movie?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so Halle Berry is wearing that dress, like that little dress.
Yes, she is.
So she was making jokes about it, and Halle Berry would be in Boomerang with Leonard Jackson, who is in 5 on the Black Hand side with D'Urville Martin. So D'Urville Martin, Leonard Jackson, Halle Berry, Rosie O'Donnell.
Very
What
good.
else is it? So Rosie O'Donnell is in that. She's in Harriet the Spy,
Yes.
who I don't know if I could get to Harriet the Spy. I love Harriet the Spy, though.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a neat little movie. And then she's in Tarzan.
Right. She is she?
Yeah, she
the
plays
animated Tarzan.
Right, because you know the story. She plays the monkey.
Yes.
That's the role that they offered Chris Rock.
That's right.
And Chris Rock is like, I can't be a monkey.
Yeah, I can't do that. Right.
What else is she in?
Well, she was in League of Our Own.
She sure is in League of
Yeah,
Their
which is
Own.
the one I thought you were going to go to. She was also in Sleepless in Seattle because she plays the best friend.
Sure. Sure.
And she was in. She's in. I don't know. Well, she's in.
I forgot about League of Their Own, and I really like that.
I mean, there's a few other movies, but those are probably the ones that you would know her from.
Yeah. Did you watch the show that was on? I think it was on Amazon for a season. The League of Their Own show.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I meant to, and then I didn't, which is maybe why I got canceled. It's my fault.
It's your fault.
It's my fault because I really do like A League of Their Own.
The movie I like.
Yeah,
I love
really
the movie.
like the movie a lot.
I don't know if I would necessarily go on to see the TV show.
Yeah.
Like, and God bless them, they did a TV show of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I didn't make it for my money. You want to do a baseball TV show? Bingo, Long Traveling also.
Mm-hmm.
You can get 5 seasons out of that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. But okay, well, there you go. 2 drummers, huh?
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Learn something new every day.
I want to go back to something that I meant to touch on.
Okay.
We were talking about 2002.
Okay.
Because I wanted to touch on a few people of note certainly to you and to our older missionaries who we lost in 2002. Mm-hmm. In 2002, we lost Teresa Graves, who was the star of Get Christy Love, the first African-American woman to star in her own television drama.
Get Christy Love. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Love Teresa Graves.
We
are never going to beat the accusation that we're an old man show.
We never will. I have to be honest. I love Teresa Graves.
Yes.
I remember Get Christy Love. I can't bring a scene of it.
I was about to say, you better than me that you remember it. Like, I've seen clips of it because didn't she say you're under arrest, sugar?
Yes, I
Wasn't
remember
that her catchphrase?
Yes, I remember that. I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That's all I remember.
But I remember her in movies.
I don't remember.
I thought she was in some stuff.
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Yeah.
2002 is when we also lost Aunt Esther.
LaWanda Page. I
LaWanda
remember
Page
that.
from TV's Sanford and Son
remember
passed
that.
away in 2002.
I remember that. I remember there's a project I'm working on. I'll mention it just because we're talking. I am working my way very slowly through Martin.
Okay.
Like I started at the beginning, and she shows up in like the 3rd or 4th episode because remember Martin used to play his mother. One of Martin's characters was his mother, and there was a scene with LaWanda Page,
Probably
and
a friend of the mother or something.
she was a friend of the mother's. But it was so nice seeing LaWanda Page. Like I actually said out loud, "Oh, it's LaWanda Page."
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I remember when she passed. Yeah.
And also, we lost in 2002, and it can make allusions to Vincent. I don't know if we can get a tight up on his shirt there. Ted Ross.
Oh,
The actor of stage and screen who won a Tony Award for his performance as the Cowardly Lion in the 1975 Broadway production of The Wiz, a role that he would go and reprise in the film The Wiz. The only person from the Broadway production, one of 2 people from the Broadway production, asked to appear in the movie.
It's Mabel King.
Mabel King.
And Thelma, what's her name? Miss One was in the music.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
All right,
so it was 3 people.
Okay.
Oh, I'm ready to fight. I'll turn you day into night because I'm a mean old lion.
Yes.
Oh, I'm about to drop an F-bomb. I love that damn Ted Ross.
He was the man.
He was the
He
best.
Absolute best.
Oh, love Ted Ross.
Yeah, that's so.
You were talking about Bingo Long.
Yeah.
Remember he plays one of the team owners,
Yes,
and him
he
and
does.
Mabel King have just golden.
Yes.
Just pure gold. Yeah.
Gone too soon in
Yeah.
2002. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That is 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. And now the time has come for our movie review as we sit down to review Drumline. And I will bring this up as I have it here, or I had it here. Now it seems to have gone. So bear with me one moment as I bring it up again. And I will bring this to, here we go, Drumline. You with me? Thank you. Drumline, a 2002 coming-of-age teen comedy. Directed by Charles Stone III, written by Tina Gordon Chisholm and Sean Sheps, and inspired by the life story of one Dallas Austin. The film follows a young drummer from New York, played by Nick Cannon, who enters the fictional Atlanta A&T University and bumps heads with the leader of his new school's drum section, played by Leonard Roberts, and the band leader, Orlando Jones, and strikes up a bit of a romance with a young Zoe Saldana. This film, that was also produced, of course, by Dallas Austin, received generally positive reviews upon its release in 2002, and grossed $58 million on a $20 million budget, and would go on to spawn a sequel, a direct-to-video sequel, and was Vincent's selection for this stop on the Me Show mission. Vincent, what say you of Drumline?
I think Drumline very quickly, certainly within 2 or 3 years, and that's conservatively within 2 or 3 years of it coming out, became almost this blue chip black film. Like it very quickly kind of entered into the canon of black films that you had to watch. And I think the thing I love, one of the many things that I enjoy about Drumline, is that this is the type of film that I don't think gets released in the theaters anymore. It's just a really solid comfort food film. As you said, Nick Cannon plays this drummer, goes to this fictional university, and deals with some challenges as he becomes a drummer in the university. There are a couple of subplots, and there is a lot of footage of bands.
Big band.
But it's not a real plot-heavy film.
No.
Like this film is in many ways almost an exploration and, dare I say, celebration of the HBCU marching band, more than it's interested in putting forward this great plot. I think as far as the performances, you called out some people. I think this is a film with solid performances and what I've always seen as a film with a couple of secret weapons. I think outside going in, I think the first real secret weapon is Jason Weaver.
Okay.
Jason Weaver, who plays Ernest, who is one of Devin, which is Nick Cannon's character's friends. Like they have this roommate. They have this crew of freshmen who have gone into the band. And Jason Weaver is an actor that I've always liked. You know, he shows up here and there. I think the last time we saw Jason Weaver was probably in ATL. And he's a young actor that, you know, I think famously he made some money off of The Lion King. So I don't know if Jason Weaver has had to hustle and work as much as his contemporaries, which is too bad because he's a nice little actor. And one of the things that I like about Drumline is you have these situations going on the side of Devin's journey that are interesting enough to hold a whole subplot.
Right.
So we find out that Jason Weaver's character is in the midst of pledging a band fraternity, and we get these wonderful little comedic moments where he has, this sort of physical performance where he's trying to keep it hidden and he has to hurry and be places.
Yeah.
And he's great as
Ernest.
You have, and I just lost his name.
Which one?
Who plays Leonard Roberts.
Oh,
Leonard Roberts.
Yeah.
Who plays Devin's main adversary.
Yes, the villain of the movie.
The section leader, Sean Taylor.
Yes.
Leonard Roberts, always solid.
Very.
Always solid. I think he embodies this older student who you would think who bumps heads with this young kind of brusque prodigy. Like, it makes complete sense. And frankly, I think he has this great chemistry
with
Nick Cannon. So much so that if there is, I'm not going to say a misstep, but if there is a cast member that I don't think is utilized as well as they should be, it would be Zoe Saldana, who plays the love interest.
Right.
That frankly doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like Devin is a freshman. I think she's a junior.
Yeah, I think we're playing her.
She's like one of the head girls in the band. She's in the sorority, a cheerleader. Well, I don't know if she's
well, yeah, right. It's the band, right.
Right, she's in this sorority. Like, there's really nothing about their social standing on campus that says, I want this person to be my boyfriend.
Yeah.
But frankly, Leonard Roberts and Nick Cannon have so much chemistry. There are moments that I'm waiting for them to kiss.
Okay.
Like they really are the couple.
Yeah.
Frankly. So like, you got to have Zoe Saldana so that you can say, hey, this guy's not gay. And then there's what I see as the other secret weapon, which is Orlando Jones as Dr. Lee.
Yes.
Who is the rigid, moral, little uptight leader, a band leader. But, I'll speak for myself. Until Drumline, I thought Orlando Jones was just, the dumbass guy from Mad TV. Like, I had no idea that he had
this dramatic,
in a role that frankly didn't have to be this good.
No.
Like, he really brought way more to this role than he had to.
Exactly. Yes, he did.
And then you have Nick Cannon, who, as his breakout role, before this, he was a comedian on, I think, Kenan and Kel. Like, he was in the Nickelodeon.
He was in the Nickelodeon
trenches.
universe.
He had his own little show. But you immediately understand why he's the star. Like, you immediately see that Nick Cannon is somebody who is a star. He is funny. He is charming. There are dramatic moments where I think he brings it. He's a good-looking kid. Like, everything about Nick Cannon works in this film, so that just as a cast, everything works really well. But I have to say, I think the real strength of Drumline is this celebration of the culture.
Yes.
Which, when you think about it, as you said, this is very loosely based on Dallas Austin's story. Now, something I just learned, because I always knew the Dallas Austin part, something that I just learned today was that this is based on Dallas Austin's story when he was in high school.
Yes.
It was as it was developing that they said it should be set in college. And then, the extension of college was it should be an HBCU band. And for many people who aren't familiar with HBCUs and certainly aren't familiar with Southern HBCUs, this band culture
is real.
But you know, one of the things that it has in common with Bring It On, how Bring It On, I think, introduced the wider world to cheerleading. I think for many people, and the kind of commentary and when we talk about people looking back and the legacy of this film. Mm-hmm. This is a film that introduced a lot of people to these bands and this culture and everything that goes along with that. And I think even in the midst of the creation of this film, Charles Stone knew that, because something that surprised me is this is a 2-hour film. And I remember thinking, I don't remember this film being that long. But then when you watch it, you realize conservatively a solid half hour of this film is performances. And one thing about Stone's direction is I think he captures the performances. I think he captures one of the things that he talks about is that he approached this film as a sports film, but the sports were the bands.
Yes.
And that energy that you get, and, you know, frankly, just the sheer skill and craft of these musicians. This is a wonderful testament to it. So much so that you read about Zoe Saldana, you read about Jason Weaver, you read about, of course, Nick Cannon. They actually did a lot of this stuff. Like, they trained to do it. And you know, I saw an interview with Nick Cannon where he always wants to point out that by the end of the film, those are all far shots, because that's him actually playing the drums.
Yeah. And
while Atlanta A&T is a fictional college, Morris Brown is a real college. And, you know, there was, you know, appropriately enough, a little tension with these actual musicians saying that these actors
can do what we do,
are pretending to do what we do. So there was a bit of tension. So that energy that you feel, a lot of that is real between those two bands. So that ultimately, look, I love Drumline. You know, this is one of those reviews where I don't even know how much you're recommending Drumline, because if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably seen Drumline.
Probably.
And
I don't know. We have some younger viewers. Maybe they haven't seen it.
No, well, you're making a joke, but see, here's the thing. Again, I think Drumline has become part of this cohort of films that the kids watch.
Yeah, you know, you want to think that.
So, but yeah, I love Drumline. Yeah, absolutely.
I do like Drumline. I was actually really fascinated with returning to this film because I think I may have seen it twice in entirety.
In its entirety, because you've seen pieces of it. Right, of course.
But I remember, like, I was like you, like, this movie was 2 hours? I don't remember this being 2 hours. But so much of it is performances, and all of the performances are so expertly shot. You don't feel the time. Right. You know, you're wrapped in you want to see more of the performances. So I don't mind that. You mentioned the story. The story is paper thin. Like, you know, Charles Stone says it's basically a sports movie with the bands as the combatants, and that's basically what it is. And if you know a sports movie, then you kind of know the beats that it's going to hit for. Upon rewatching it today, I, like you, recognize the megawatt stardom popping off of Nick Cannon from the very first moment he's on screen, right? And like the shorthand storytelling that's happened in the beginning, because you're seeing him about to go, you know, leaving high school to go to college and confronting his father, and then being on the bus to go to college, and all of that happens within like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. It's very shorthand. It's very well done, right? But I did find myself bothered a little bit by this is a guy who in this school is basically getting over. From the beginning of the movie, really almost to the end of the movie, it's all about him getting over. It's all about him just wanting things his way and the hell with everybody else. And after a certain point, that started to get on my nerves. He does get a bit of a comeuppance.
I was about to say.
At the end, which actually I didn't remember, which I was like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense because, spoiler alert for a 22-year-old movie, that, there's a huge, contest that happens at the end, the BET Classic, where the bands are going up against one another. And without necessarily giving the ending away, he's not a part of the BET Classic.
He is not.
And rightfully so, based on his behavior.
Yeah.
So I actually, watching that happen, I was like, okay, you've kind of redeemed that aspect of this movie for me. And while I was already kind of like in the bag, but it was like reluctantly, now I can be in the bag for this movie all the way. Because I like him in this movie. I think Zoe Saldana is good in the movie with what she's given, but you're right. She doesn't need to be there. And the whole idea of this very self-assured junior being attracted, not so much just because he's a freshman, because, the heart wants what the heart wants, but because he's such a brash,
right,
and just like, comes across as like a totally uncultured freshman right from the door.
Right.
The fact that she would, within the first year, we're not talking about like, the end of the year, like before the end of the probably first 6-7 months.
Yeah.
She's his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That didn't happen to me in college.
Right.
I don't know about you.
Look, that's a lot of pursed lips and deep, hungry stares.
Exactly.
Between Nick Cannon and Leonard Roberts.
But to your point, they're back and forth, and you're right. Leonard Roberts is the secret sauce in this movie because as eye-popping as Nick Cannon is, he is 100% believable in his role. He's believable in that he could be the section leader, but he is also believable that he could be threatened by this, let's say, idiot savant of a drummer.
Right.
Because that is what he is.
He's actually an idiot savant. Yeah.
So I can understand him being threatened by that, right? And what I appreciated is that, in lesser hands, Zoe Saldana would have also been dating Leonard Roberts. So
then he takes him right.
So I like that none of that gets involved in here. Actually, the person that I thought you were going to say that kind of gets lost in the sauce, along with Zoe Saldana, is the character of Charles, played by Earl Poitier, who is the kind of chubbier, dark-skinned guy who plays the tuba.
Yeah.
And he shows that he's got a little bit of comedic chops in the beginning of the film, but then he disappears for a lot of the movie. Right. And I thought he might be a little bit more of it. Yeah, they played up Jason Weaver, and I like Jason Weaver. But I just thought that he would be a little bit more play a little bit more of the role. You didn't mention him, but J. Anthony Brown shows up.
Makes the most out of
his moments.
Yeah,
and he plays his role.
Yeah,
he plays his position. But you talked about Orlando Jones.
Yes.
And as much as this movie is a coming out party for Nick Cannon in the films, this movie is a coming out party for Orlando Jones as well. Because it is because of this movie, even though it's a few years later, that you believe Orlando Jones when he is cast in
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. as the police.
You're 100% correct. You're
because
100%
this
correct.
is when he makes that shift. This is why you believe him in that. This is why you believe him in American Gods.
And when he gets to American Gods, you are 100% right.
This is where the shift happens because before then, you're right. He's the Mad TV guy. He's a little slimmer. He's got the big eyes that he can't get away from that play well in comedy, but can come across as very soulful if you're playing it right. And he shows the man has the chops to play it. And it's a role that doesn't deserve to be this good. There's a scene where he confronts Leonard Roberts, Sean's character, about his his antagonism towards Devin. And it's a scene that could really have been just like chewing the scenery between the two of them, but it is so grounded and real the way that he is just talking to him, because at the end of the day, he's not mad at him. I'm still your leader. I'm still in a way your teacher. Right. And I'm still here to help make you the man that I see that you are destined to be. Right. And play my position in helping you reach that goal. And I think it's a short scene, but it is a beautiful scene.
Look, I talked about, Jason Weaver and his pledging storyline happening just right off camera. Right. One of the things that I've said for years about Drumline is obviously I didn't, well, maybe not obviously, but in case you wonder, I never played in a band in an HBCU in the South. Okay. But it looks real authentic to me on the screen. Like, I don't know if this is how it works, but it looks like it works. Yeah. Like Dr. Lee navigating the college president and the alumni and those kind of pressures. I've never been the band leader of an HBCU band who has to deal with the board of trustees and the college president and the alumni, but it seemed like I was all in. With this subplot, and that's 100% because of what Orlando Jones brings to this role, which once again was you didn't have to do all this, brother. Nope. Like, this is not like this the Nick Cannon movie.
We just need you to show up. We just read these lines real quick.
Right. We about to spend 20 minutes with them spinning cymbals and doing tubes. And boy, black people crack. Like, what? The band, this the blackest shit. Like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to play an instrument. Okay, all right, I'm gonna learn how to play an instrument. I'm gonna learn how to play an instrument with a bunch of other people. Okay, I'm gonna learn how to play an instrument with a bunch of other people. Okay, that's not enough. Also, we're going to have some type of really complicated choreography.
I mean, but that's bands.
I mean, there's there's Philip Sousa bands.
This ain't Philip Sousa. This is Phil.
Who comes up with this?
This is Phil Sousa.
Right.
Phil Sousa.
Right. So we're going to spend 20 minutes with this. Orlando Jones, you don't have to, like, this is just a gift.
Dang.
Yeah, so.
I was curious, though, because I looked this up because, again, this is actually, and I was actually surprised by this, Charles Stones, who, for those who may not remember, some of our younger audience, who may not remember the director Charles Stone, who grew to prominence from commercials.
That's right.
A Hall of Fame commercial. Was his Budweiser commercial from 1992. This was his film debut, his directorial film debut.
I thought this was his second movie.
Well, it's the second one that was released this year, but I think he made Drumline first, and Paid in Full comes out that same year.
Paid in Full comes out. Okay, all right. We should do Paid in Full soon.
But he actually is, It's good direction.
He's a good director.
He's very good direction in here. I mean, he's done music videos, so it doesn't it makes sense that he's going to get the music part right.
Right.
But his direction on everything else is very well handled.
I mean, the bands.
But just the fact of like the final scene where, while admittedly it wasn't his suggestion, but that final scene is actually between the two drum lines is shot almost as they would do old boxing films,
right?
Where they just turn out the lights and you just focus on them,
right?
That was smart and it was expertly shot.
Yeah.
But considering that, his filmography is very small.
Yes.
And I'm actually surprised considering how skillful he comes across. The work comes across in Drumline. He does Paid in Full in 2002. Then he, admittedly, he does spend a good bit of time on television because he is one of the directors on Friday Night Lights and also does the short-lived show Lincoln Heights.
Yes.
So which was very well done. But he does Mr. 3000 in 2004. That's with Bernie Mac.
Yes.
And then he doesn't really show up in movies again, really, until 2015 with Lila and Eve, which is the Viola Davis, Jennifer Lopez movie. So I'm just surprised he didn't do a lot more films.
I'm not surprised by that in the least. Paid in Full was not a hit.
No, but Drumline certainly was.
Drumline, you just said it made how much? It had a budget of 20.
And it made 58.
And it made 58, so it was a modest hit.
It made twice as...
I don't remember off the top of my head if Charles Stone was part of that article in the New York Times from 3 or 4 years ago.
Interviewing all the black directors.
But I think he has...
Might have been.
He has a textbook example career of what all of those directors talked about.
Yeah.
Where black directors do not get opportunities if you are just solid.
Yeah.
If you are just solid. Yeah, it does not surprise me.
And you're trying to take your original work around and just try and just get some funding.
Right. And, you know, I think the thing about Drumline, as you said, it made 50 some odd $50 million in the movie. I think Drumline is very much a film that has gained prominence over the years.
Yeah, you got to remember, this is 2002. This is right in the heart of like the DVD cable, you know, so it's there that it really becomes, you know, cements itself in the culture.
And to go back to something that I said when I started, if Drumline is the type of film that if it was lucky, it would be on Netflix.
You are 100%
but it would probably be on Amazon or one of the other streaming channels. And this is not an insult at all, because I think the real story that we're going to be talking about in 30 years is it would have been on Tubi. And I know that sounds like an insult, but there's quietly gold on Tubi. And I think that's going to be the real untold story. So, again, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that article. Yeah, that was a good article. So, would you recommend that people watch Drumline?
I would recommend that people watch Drumline. I think there are films and you know, certainly we argue about this type of thing. Not argue, but we discuss over there the sort of black canon. And I think Drumline, just as a canonical black cultural artifact, works. Like I really do think this is one of those films that you know, like you said, you've only seen it twice. beginning to end, but I know you've seen bits and pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
always on, it's always around, it's always there. I also think that this is a film that I group with a film like School Days or even something like Stomp in the Yard, where I love these depictions of the Black college experience as a cultural experience. Like I love you know, I love I love the Jason Weaver pledging subplot. I love the depiction of the dining hall. Like there's this great moment where Devin says, "Can a brother just get a slice of pizza?" Because you know they're in the South and it's just all soul food. I love the party they go to, and you know sometimes it's entertaining, sometimes it's irritating, where the Greeks start having an impromptu step show in the middle of the party. And but these are moments where you're like, oh yeah, this somebody actually knows what they're talking about. We talked about the performances. I think the performances are solid to oftentimes very good. The direction, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you?
I would recommend Drumline. I would. It's a despite its length, it is a surprisingly breezy watch.
You look up and it's over.
You look up that it's over, and I think the lack of or very thin plotting means that it's not a whole lot of heavy stakes in it.
Right.
They're beats that you've seen before, and even the antagonist is not that antagonistic. You kind of like see a bit from his point of view.
Oh, you absolutely understand. And I wanted to say this to you about him kind of breezing through the film. Structurally, I think it's a fascinating film. To your point, it moves faster than you think it does. It is a half hour before Devin and the other freshmen put on a band uniform.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It is at the hour mark that they figure out that he can't read music.
I know.
It just feels like
no, but there are hints to it.
Oh no! I mean, when he gets caught.
You gets caught.
Yeah, when he gets caught.
Right.
So he actually has a solid hour of kind of dealing with the repercussions of him not being able to read music.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I would recommend Drumline. It's and it's the performances are they're great. They're good, great, some great, but the musical performances,
goodness,
are fantastic. Now, I could have done without Petey Pablo, but I mean, he's but I think the world has forgotten about him, so I'm fine. Outside of that, well, I will say I have forgotten about him. I won't say the world because I want people from Atlanta coming at me, but I'm sure he's still, playing at a hot chicken place someplace down there. But why would you say that, Vincent? Why would you say that?
I just don't understand why you pick fights.
Why? Why are you picking fights?
Why are we talking about
Petey Pablo? Much love. You my man. This guy. I would recommend Drumline.
Well, I guess those are 2 thumbs up for you talk. You know what? You talk about me, but every now and then, like if you'd have asked me what was Len gonna go off on something, I would never have guessed Petey Pablo is in one scene. You know what I have in my notes?
What?
When he came out, I
that?
said, Petey Pablo. And then I moved to my next notes.
Okay.
I was more interested in Free and
In AJ.
In AJ.
From 106 and Park.
I was like, I remember
Where are they?
Free and AJ.
I know. They were on the set for 1 hour. They're just gonna film this one bit, and we're out. They don't interact with anybody from the movie. They may not even been on set.
Look.
We're going to give y'all a backdrop. Y'all just read these lines real quick. Where are they now?
I think AJ used to be on one of them shows like Entertainment Tonight or
Yeah,
something.
he was on. What happened to Free?
I don't know what happened to Free. I hope she's doing well.
I hope so too. Anyway.
It's hot. It's hot. You got the lights.
It is hot. It is hot. Yeah. We are definitely glistening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our review of Drumline. Before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week here on Summer 2K on the Michelle Mission, I invite you to follow the Michelle Mission on the social media of your choice, whether it be Instagram, X, or Facebook, where you can join our Facebook group at Michelle Mission. Get in there and let us know what you're thinking about the show. You can also follow the Michelle Mission on YouTube, where you can like and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you are notified of when we go live, when we put up our shorts, when we put up our edited videos, and all the special stuff that we have planned to do on YouTube. And it is coming, I promise, real soon, like shortly. But please tell a friend about YouTube and tell a friend about the Michelle Mission. They can subscribe on YouTube, or they can subscribe wherever they find podcasts, whether it be Apple, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Google, whether it be iHeartRadio. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Michelle Mission, which is brought to you by The Podglomerate. ThePodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work, such as ours, which streams every Tuesday night live at 7 p.m. Eastern from Young Chunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace here in the city of brotherly love. If you want to book yourself in one of the fabulous studios that they have here, you can hit up our guy Dylan at youngjunk.com. That's DYLAN at youngjunk.com. Hit him up. He'll gladly book you in. I think he's actually booked a couple of people actually from seeing the show. So thank you to all of you. And if you've been sitting on your hands, what are you waiting for? Get her done. All right. Next week here on the Michelle Mission in the Summer 2K, we are going to do Vincent's other film for Summer 2K, and this is from 2005, another black film directed by a black director, Malcolm D. Lee, as we dip back in, wow, it must be a theme, as we dip back into 1970s Chicago for Bow Wow, a.k.a. Shad Moss, Megan Good, Brandon T. Jackson, Chi McBride, Kalita Smith, Journey Smollett, Mike Epps, and Nick Cannon in Roll Bounce. Next week, here on the Michelle Mission. Until then, he's Vincent, I'm Len.